What's going on, everybody? My name's Clark, and I was runner-up of American Idol and stuff, and we went through some cuts today, and we're gonna talk about them. Let's go.
Oh, I hurt too much.
These are where the cuts really start to hurt, and not just because my favorite singer for a long time, of many seasons, isn't there anymore. I'm actually referring to the contestant family dynamic. At this point, as a contestant, you've gone through all of the cuts. Hollywood Week is kind of a flash. You go from 200 and something to 24 in like 3 or 4 days. Now that top 24 core crew is with each other for quite a while. They're going through rehearsals, they're doing interviews together, experiencing the rise of fame together, having a very specific family dynamic that each contestant brings to the blue room, if they're still staying in that place, to their holding room, to where they're staying, to their dinners, to their lunches. And now these cuts really start to hurt. And they're going to start experiencing the pain of their friends getting cut more than they have before. And so are we, because this sucks. Let's just get into the cuts so we can move on. Annalee gets cut. That hurts. This is why it hurts so bad. Someone who had an unbelievable audition. We'll never know how they did in Hollywood Week. We found out that she actually didn't make it into the top 24. Once Benson Boone opted out of the show, they called Annalee and said, hey, we want you to take a spot. But by that time, they'd already edited the Hollywood Week episodes where they didn't show her because they didn't think she was going to make it. So why make America fall in love with someone that is going to get cut? They do that once or twice with people like Murphy, but you don't want to do too many of those because then you get people mad. Well, I'm mad. She didn't get a lot of TV time. She finally gets in the top 24 last minute, has a couple performances, and honestly, she had the chance to show what she needed to show, and she showed herself well. She sang well. She had a couple missed notes, but not enough to really tank her at all. It was still a good performance, and the duet was really, really special. She had a lot of fans from just the audition. It's not like she didn't get a fair chance in the top 24, but it's hard when she didn't get as much coverage as some other contestants did, but that's just the way it goes. Sucks. Leah Hona also gets cut. That sucks too. I've heard that she was happy to go home and misses her family, which is great. Maybe this was just a great experience for her to understand what it's like to do the whole music business thing, at least a taste of it. But now we have, in my opinion, half of the potential stars are gone. Leah Hona, Annalee, Layla Mock, probably some others that I can't think of. They're gone. The best singers in the entire show, in my opinion, are gone. Best singers in the show were Amanda Mina and Annalee, and they're gone. Grace and Willy are the two biggest powerhouses, and they're there, and they're right up in that conversation as the best singers on the show of the whole season. But really sucks that we're at 16 and half of the best singers are gone, and half of the contestants that show the most potential in artistry, they're gone too. Mary Jo Young was just coming into her own. She doesn't make it. Hannah Everhart doesn't make it. Jason Warrior doesn't make it. He did a great performance. Cecil doesn't make it. Alana and Andrea hurt too, because I know she's fantastic. To start the show, we've got another good old belting montage. The notes are a little bit more in key, kind of, with the background music. It's a little better. It's just something that I guess they'll always do. So it's actually the top 8 from each night, which I think is the right move, because if you would have had more viewers and voters in general for one night than the other, you'd probably see an entire 12 make it through from one night and less make it through the other night just because of voter differences. Choosing who makes up that 12, that's some power. American Idol has given the reins to America and the voters, but they have ways to keep a little bit control to make sure they direct the path a little bit. They do it by selecting the 12 who sing together on both nights, maybe encouraging the judges to give certain people a lot of praise and certain people not as much praise. They do it by show order. And these are all alleged. I mean, these are all potential ways they could try to influence the vote, push certain contestants farther that they really like. Also, they're going from 16 to 10, and then the judges are going to pick 2 to make a top 12. So they're still keeping a little bit of control. Honestly, I'm fine with that. Because Lord knows we can't trust America sometimes. Because who is it that's voting? A lot of times the musicians and the singers and the people who quote unquote know better are more outside observers. Like they think they're too cool for American Idol. So they're not actually going to vote. They're just going to observe like, ooh, let's see how the singing show does and who they let go through and who they don't. Instead of actually voting, the people who are voting are diehard American Idol fans who've watched every season. And it's that demographic that we have to look at and see who are they voting. And that's who we're really trusting. So really the moral of the story is go vote. Number one, we've got Alyssa Rae. She picks a great song. She does great. She does really good pacing. Like Lionel said, she doesn't give it all at the very beginning. She lets it play out and then kills it at the end. I'm not going crazy about this performance, but I don't think she could have done any better. I think she did great. Also, the judges love to say ever. We've never had a top 24 that has been talked about like this or been this talented. This is our best ever. They love saying that word. I'm a little biased because as a fellow contestant, I think my top 24 was the most talented ever. I can't be the person to say that because I was a part of it. So I'm biased. Next is Graham DeFranco. Holy cow, this arrangement. Oh.
That's life. That's what all the people say.
Ooh.
You're riding high in April.
Oh my.
Shot down in May.
Oh my God.
But I know I'm gonna change that tune. When I'm back on top in June. I said that's life.
Yikes, how about the band?
And as funny as it may seem,
What is this?
some people get their kicks stomping on a tree. But I don't let it get me down.
Band is in their
Because
bag.
this final world, it keeps spinning around.
The band was in their bag. I actually talked to Graham and asked him where did this arrangement come from. He said he just told the band, I want to modernize this song a little bit, and they did that. In my opinion, that's not modernizing the song. It's just making it groovy AF. Really sweet. The bass player and the guitar player really doing their thing. It's great when you give the band freedom, because when you give the band freedom to do what they want to do, they're going to do what they're best at. And that's what they did there. Really cool arrangement. Graham here set right where he needed to vocally. Didn't try anything outside of his wheelhouse. Stayed right where he needed to be. Crooned the song. Gave the great tone that we love. And just let it happen. Perfect form. This is my favorite performance that Graham's done. Next is Grace Kinsler. She had some really great spots. There were some pitch issues, but almost everyone's gonna have pitch issues. It's really, really, really hard to sing live on TV. Every slight pitch issue is gonna be highlighted and really obvious to the listener. So I wanna give a little grace there. No pun intended. She did really great here. This is a good performance. My only note of critique is get those runs tight. And if you can't, try a different one. And this goes back to sing your tens. Sing what you're really great at. So she does a run here. It's a band break, and it's a run that she does often, a run that I do often, a run that everybody does a lot. It's a pentatonic descending run starting from 6 and ending on 6. So it's a full octave run, which is impressive if you can nail it. 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, 6. It's a really common run that you hear in gospel. And it's cool, but if you can't nail it, well, she doesn't quite hit it here, then do something different. Do less notes. Do that, or just a big note. Do something instead of an almost correct run. Do a riff you can do 100%, even if it's less. It's something that feels better, a slide. Just do something different. Get the run super tight or try something else. The difficulty of that run and her range and that moment and that timing is really, 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 really high. And I would advise take your high percentage shots. But again, overall, really good performance. She's got the most powerful voice of anybody on the show. Next, we have Alana Sophia, right at the top. Really pretty.
Tell you the story of who I am. So many stories of where I've been and how I got to where I am.
Really nice pitch on that high falsetto note there. She does pretty great. This is a beautiful, beautiful song, and it has a really intense drop. When the band comes in and the octave jumps and then she's really singing, it's really easy to fall into over-emoting. And if you let emotion come before the focus of your voice come, and I mean mental focus on your vocal, you're gonna get a little bit out of control. Then if you feel like you can do that vocal in your sleep, then add on all the emotion and the movements. But if you just feel like, here we go, let's do it, and throw that emotion out there, vocal's gonna suffer a little bit. Maybe that appeals to some people because they see you're going for it. They don't really pay attention to the vocal as much. But for me, what's more powerful is if you nail those notes. And those notes are at the very, very, very top of her range and are difficult. I would call for more mental focus on that drop rather than emotion coming through. Because I think the notes slipped away from her just a little bit, not a lot. But emotion comes as dressing. Make sure the vocal's there first, then add emotion if you can to your physical aesthetic performance. Willy Spencer sings next. I've noticed that Willy does better when he's singing a song that is originally done by a female pop artist. And the reason is most male pop artists, their thing isn't their vocal. It's not their singing ability. Female pop artists like Jessie J, Demi Lovato, Adele, their thing is their voice. They're just great singers. So their songs are very singer friendly. The chords are usually better and there's more variety there. He does it here with Adele and the arrangement is nuts.
To you that I never knew all the things you said they were never true in the games you played. You would always win, but I set fire to the rain, watched it pour as I touched your face. Well, it burned while I cried 'cause I heard it screaming out your name. But I set fire to the rain and I threw up into the flames. When I felt something down 'cause I knew that was the last
His voice is great. He has a little bit of a trouble spot when it gets really big, but the arrangement's nuts. He sings into the key change without a reference note, which is tough. And I'm actually going to break down these gospel hits and the chord changes and why it makes us feel so epic and inspired and like we're floating. It gets really exciting. First chord change that I really liked that was pretty subtle. I set fire to the rain. Original chord is watch it burn as I. Instead they play fire to the rain, watch it burn. Keep this note on top, and that just breaks my heart. Okay, now to the key change. They're in the key of D major. They're here, and they go, and I set fire to the rain. What they're doing is they're doing something that feels right, like a walk down. He sings this note, and I set fire, which makes this chord from a D major to a D minor. When he sings, and I, that's the minor of D. That makes that chord a D minor. So he goes, so I set fire, and then lands on a 4, this B flat. So now we're in the key of F. I know this is a lot. We're here, and then he starts to move, and instead of moving to here, he moves that way, but he keeps the bass the same, and it gives this epic feeling of, so I set fire to the rain, watch it burn as I set this. Just gives this epic, almost like I'm in the movie Hercules feel. Then after, he finally finds their way back to D minor and does this vamp kind of thing. Here come the gospel hits that he does right here. It goes, so sick. The run that he goes with the band, he goes, takes him on 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 6, and they end on a minor like that. Really crazy stuff, and it's awesome. Katie said every note was thoughtful. Love that comment. So true. That's very Willy. He's an extremely musical singer. I've said this before, but the notes he picks to sing and the arrangement and when he decides to go big, when he decides to go quiet is done masterfully. He's a really great vocal arranger when he's singing. Deshaun Goncalves. What a great song choice, arrangement choice, everything. Really a great way to sell himself, who he is, what he offers. Incredible intro. Incredible first 60 seconds. Sounds great, plays piano, eyes are wide open. Something to say about his eyes being open the whole time and just looking around. That is some supreme confidence and owning the moment and not being scared at all. The confidence that comes from him, it's almost like someone could walk up to him and say, hey, you're awful. You're a terrible singer and you're dumb and stupid.
Where did you get those clothes? At the toilet store?
And he'd just be like, nah, I'm good. I'm really good. I'm a really good singer. Like, he wouldn't say that arrogantly. He just knows that. He's like, no, I realize I'm really good. Very good. And there's nothing anybody could tell him to change his mind. And that's so needed. The second half, when he took the mic and left the piano, wasn't as strong as the first half. He started rushing the lines a little bit, and I think it's a little stylistic. Like, he did it on purpose. I want to hear him sing those lines. Dragonflies out in the sun, it was dragonflies out in the sun, you know what I mean? Instead of dragonflies out in the sun. Instead of really singing the line and hearing his voice, kind of threw it at us. Did that a couple times in the second half. And then the very end, I was not a fan of. Missed the run. You want to plan your steps and make sure each foot finds its step when you do a run. And sometimes people just fling themselves down the stairs into a run. He kind of flung himself down the stairs in this run. Hits this nice note, and then kind of does some shaking with his voice and kind of does a run. But I don't know the notes that were in there. They weren't very clear and they're kind of messy. And then hits this really high falsetto note. That was cool. He does it all with such confidence. He almost convinces you it's good, even if it isn't. Find your footing, plan your runs, get them tight, and do what you can do perfectly. Instead of, let's do a run, and just throwing notes all over the place. Lionel stands. He is standing for like half of his critiques. Not in the performance. Now he's just decided to stand randomly. The process of getting your name called, revealing that you've made it through, and then singing is a really intense moment. Right when they call your name, you get up, people are applauding, they go to your video package, and you've got that 30 seconds or so to get on stage, get checked, make sure you can hear your instrument, make sure you can hear everything, and then right when that video goes, you're just hearing 3, 2, 1, and the music starts, you gotta sing. It's really fast and it's really intense. And often, I don't know why, but your instrument doesn't come through in your ears immediately. It takes a while, which is kind of scary. I did a performance of Superstition where I start out in the song by myself with a guitar, singing the lick that I'm playing on guitar. And they were going 5, 4, and I'm like, guitar, can't hear guitar yet. And you've got a monitor representative who's on there talking to you like, are you good? Can you hear everything? And he's telling the guys in the sound booth like, hey, he doesn't have this, he needs this, he needs this. And I didn't have the guitar, and actually when I start, I don't have a reference. I just sing, and I happen to be right there with the guitar and the key, and the guitar comes in. So those moments are terrifying. Next, we have Wyatt Pike. This was a great performance. Maybe my favorite performance. He picks a great song and really does it his own. Every time I hear Wyatt sing, I'm thinking this is him as an artist. This is who we're going to get afterwards, which is really impressive when we're doing covers. A lot of times you hear covers and you hear, wow, that person's a great singer. But when Wyatt sings, I'm thinking that's his album. That's his sound. That's what he's going to be after the show. I'm ready. I'm ready to go to his concert. I'm ready to buy his album. I see him fully. He does this by changing the melody completely, and it's really cool. His guitar seemed a little out of tune in the beginning. That could be from straight up his guitar being out of tune, but they've got such good guitar techs. I don't know if that's the case. Can also be done with your hands if you're squeezing down on the guitar too much. For example, this guitar is in tune pretty much. Now, if I squeeze down too much with my hands and start to bend the strings a little bit, see how that now sounds out of tune? So if I'm nervous or too intense and I'm kind of squeezing down with my left hand here, I can actually bend the strings out of tune on a guitar that is in tune. but he's a great guitar player, so maybe my ear's off. But it seemed like it was a little out of tune in the beginning, and it seemed like he wasn't 100% comfortable with the chords, but he does awesome. Luke talks about the moment he realized that he was going to be able to do music forever, and says that Wyatt is witnessing that moment right now where he's going to be able to do music forever. I don't think he's wrong. I think it's absolutely true that if he wants to, he gets creative enough and is tenacious and wants it enough, he can do music forever. Forever. Ever. Why am I doing... Oh, that's actually from a song of mine called Forever that's on my album Light Year that's available wherever you listen to music, and it sounds like this. Next, we have Cassandra Coleman. She does awesome. Her verses sound like $1,000,000. Sounds like a superstar. I'm getting a little tired of the judges saying this over and over again. We need more confidence. We need your nerves. I think they're oversaying it where it's not going to help. I think what she needs is just to love the song, relax into it. Jesus said all the laws of the Bible, all these little nitpicky laws are all tied up into one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. If you do that, everything else falls into place. It's the same way with music. Love the song with all your heart, soul, and mind, and you will never oversing. You'll never overact. Everything will be genuine from the heart, and everything falls into place. I think she just needs to love the song like she does. The melody, the chords, just get lost in it and relax. You can dance if you want. You don't have to dance if you don't want to. You can stay still. You can open your eye. You can do whatever you want to do. Having that freedom, that's when the natural movements come. I think she's doing great. I think she has a little too much energy in some moments where it's a soft line and she's putting a lot of energy into the soft line. Instead of just relaxing with the line that is relaxed, you're putting all this energy and there's nowhere for it to go, so it makes the line seem lackluster. She just needs to relax into the song, love the song, and ride it out. The next group of 8 starts with Caleb Kennedy. He's going to be that soul, rock, country, Chris Stapleton type. He's leaning a little bit too far into the rasp, in my opinion, but he has some killer moments when he goes up into his higher range and sings some riffs and runs that are pretty great. And Lionel stands again once he critiques him. Hi, my name is Lionel Richie, and I like to stand. Next, we have Casey Bishop. Wowzers. This is the best performance of the night. It's a perfect performance. Some people say there's no such thing as a perfect performance. I totally disagree. This is a perfect performance. Her verses were incredible. The tone, the pitch, the vibrato, everything is flawless in this performance. She goes into the chorus, delivers it well, doesn't scream, doesn't do too much, and then at the very end gives us those big notes. They ring out beautifully. She's feeling it. I'm feeling it. She couldn't have done this any better. I don't know anyone who could have sung this song any better. She killed it. Luke kind of makes a note that he's a little disappointed that she's doing rock instead of anything else, and says that she's such a good singer, she's going to do great at whatever she decides to do. I agree. I would love to hear her do more jazz and R&B, soul, pop stuff. But again, like I said before, whatever's in her heart to do, that's what she needs to do, and she's doing it well. I skipped Colin. Got Colin Jameson right before Casey. He sings a beautiful song, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. This song is known for the pocket and the shuffle groove. The band didn't really do it, which is disappointing. It's really hard, and I think the original actually has 2 drummers to make it happen. Of course, on the show they have 1. So I understand that, but I was definitely missing the pocket of that shuffle. This is what the original sounds like. And here's what they did on the show.
Hands up!
But moving on to Colin, he's mumbling at the beginning. I think he's forgetting the words, but he says them. But it sounds like he's about to forget the words and he starts to mumble, get uncomfortable. When the song kicks into high gear and he starts to vamp and leave the melody, really, really nice. Better than I've ever heard him, and I've been a fan of his, and he is doing some really nice stuff up there.
You never need
Sing.
one hell hour to believe.
Yes.
Everybody wants to rule the world. Come on.
Yeah. Ending, he went straight for a camera that the director didn't quite turn on in time, but also the ending wasn't quite as clean and wonderful as the middle of the song was. You need to arrange that song where you know exactly where you're landing and you just set it down right in the money. Madison Watkins is next. She sings a song called Gravity by Sarah Bareilles. This was nice. She gets really emotional, and that's a good thing. She posted on her Instagram later a little bit why she got emotional and that it was a personal experience, but it goes to show a singer, like an actor, when they perform, they need to go there emotionally, whether or not it means something specific in their life that they've experienced. And she does that really well here. The beginning, I couldn't quite settle in. I couldn't find the tempo. I couldn't find like where to nod my head and relax into the beat. She's got a click. So she's got a metronome basically in her ears. So she knows exactly where the tempo is. It's just her and piano. Piano player, he's got it too, but we don't have it. So in my opinion, the piano player's job is to make sure we know where things sit. And while she's singing a little loose around the melody and around the tempo, if he's not really giving us the beat as he plays, I'm not sure where to rest, and I don't know where the downbeat is, and it kind of gives this uneasy foundation for me, and I couldn't really relax into it. The example on guitar would be if these are the chords. See, I'm just playing the chord on the downbeat, but if I wanted to give a sense of tempo, I would play like this. You can kind of nod your head to that, and you can do that on piano, and I wish you would have. Next, we got Bean. I am a Beanie Baby. Love it. I'm a Beanie Baby. Call me a Beanie Baby. I'm a Beanie Baby. I miss his mid-range a little bit. I love his mid to low range so much, and I'm not getting that as much anymore. I like his higher range stuff, but he was going a little bit sharp when he sang I've Been Searching almost every time. So I couldn't quite relax into it because it's just a little above the pitch. But I like this performance better than last week, and it did him well. I think he's in good shape to keep moving forward. Lionel says that he's so likable and lovable. People are going to come to his concerts just to have him smile at them. And I think that is so true. Next, we've got Hunter Metz picking the perfect song. The perfect song. Bon Iver, that's his comp. That's his model, who I think he's going to have a career similar to. Sing Skinny Love, the first half is a masterful, perfect performance. The second half, it feels to me like he's trying to play into the judge's notes a little bit, and he does it well. He has a vocal moment per the judge's request that I've rolled my eyes at every time. But the band cuts out and he hits a high note. It wasn't super climactic because he'd already hit that note before. But the good thing he does is he takes the note, he gives them that moment they're talking about. He doesn't stretch out of his ability. He hits a note that he can do really well, and he does it and he moves on, and it's good. But the first half was gorgeous, and the second half was great too. He and Casey, I think, have the best performances of the night. Next, we have Ava August. Every time I see her, she's doing better. She's playing the synth, and she's actually the one playing it that you hear from what I can tell. And she never looks down except once or twice, and it's really smooth and natural. Has a beautiful falsetto, gets away from the keys and starts to dance around, looks really natural. She's owning it. She's doing great. What she is and what she does, her thing, she is nailing it 10 out of 10. It's not necessarily my thing for my personal preference, but her thing, she's crushing it, and she's doing a really great job, and she's doing better every single time I hear her. Last, we have Chase Beckham. At the very beginning, he had a really nice mix of rasp and vocal resonance. So rasp would just be that pure gravelly sound, and resonance would be the pure vocal resonance of your vocal cords making a note. Near the end, the rasp got a little heavy, and I lost a little bit of the vocal resonance that I wanted. He had a high note moment that missed. I could see that he knew he missed it and was frustrated, and that happens all the time. It's such a bummer as a singer when you have this one moment, here it comes, and you just miss it a little bit. I've had plenty of those on the show. It is such a bummer. He misses it a little, not terribly, not where a lot of people are going to notice, but enough where he noticed and I noticed. We did the count off, the 1, 2, 3, 4 into the, he actually rushed the downbeat on there. So he goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then rushed into it instead of really waiting on that downbeat. I'm kind of hard on him on this one, but the judges are giving him high praises, and he got the pimp spot. The pimp spot is the last person to sing. This shows that the producers really love Chase Beckham. They're giving him the last spot to sing. All his fans are the most nervous. It's like, oh, please make it, please make it. And then he does, and he sings, and the judges are going crazy about him, and then the show ends. That's the best spot for you to be in. He gets that spot. Lionel says something that's really good. He says, the people who make a career out of their genuineness, the people that are being real, that career lasts longer. And it's so true. The people that are trying to be something, even if they're successful in making that spark happen, it's hard to sustain that when it's not genuinely you. But if you catch being genuinely you, you can go forever because you've got a limitless supply of yourself. I think of Casey with this too. If she's genuinely a rocker, people that are going to love her, she's going to be able to sustain that forever because that's really who she is. Instead of trying to do soul R&B pop stuff that maybe isn't her true heart, she might not be able to sustain that all the way because it's not really who she wants to be deep down as a singer. Chase gives us that genuineness. We really feel like we know him when he sings and when he presents himself. And that's it. Stay with me for the live stream after this. If you're watching this as a premiere, we're going to do a live stream for about 10 or 15 minutes before the next episode starts. See what you think. Super chat's available. Anything you can do to help me, to donate to the cause is much appreciated. I don't make any money off of these videos other than super chat and memberships. Because of the American Idol footage that I use, I can't make money off of that because it's not mine. While you're here, if you want to join to be a member of the Groove Crew, you can click the join button on the bottom of this video. Make sure you're on a computer for that. You can get access to the immediate run through of my reaction right when I finish watching the episode. It's a live stream for members only. We got an episode tonight. We'll see who goes through. Wednesday, I'll have another episode for you at 6:30 Central Time. I will see you then. Be great.
I can't go through